Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. Today's Daf is Pesachim Kuf, or 5 lines from the top of the Amid. The Gemara begins with a kasha. Rav Huna minicha? Does it really work according to Rav Huna? Let's backtrack a bit. We began the parak with a Mishnah, Ari Pesachim, Samach Mincha, Lo Yoichel Adam Asher Techshach. Erev Pesach, close to Mincha time, which Rashbam explained to be referring to the beginning of the 10th hour. So the day begins at 6, ends at 6. We split daytime into 12 equal portions. The 10th hour begins at 3 o'clock. At that point, which is called Samach Mincha, it's within a half hour of Mincha. Mincha is referring to a time where they would generally be makriv the Tamid Sheben Harbayim at 9.5 hours into the day, at 3:30. So from 3 o'clock onward, Lo Yochel Adam Asher Techshach. A person should not sit down to eat something filling. This way, he'll retain his appetite for the mitzvah of matzah coming up that very night. The Gemara kasha, why does the Mishnah refer specifically to Erev Pesach when really, according to Rabbi Yehuda, this halacha applies to every Yom Tov, every Erev Shabbos? Why are we specifically mentioning Erev Pesach? Rav Huna tells us because although Rabbi Yossi disagrees when it comes to an ordinary Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov, he says you can eat until Shabbos. Don't worry about appetite. But when it comes to Erev Pesach, because it's a mitzvah da'iraisa coming up, mitzvah's matzah, even Rabbi Yossi agrees in this case that lo yochel adam ad shetechshach. This Mishnah is in line with Rabbi Yossi, and therefore it's a specific restriction pertaining only to Erev Pesach. That was Rav Huna's approach. Asks the Gemara, Rav Huna minicha? Does it really work according to Rav Huna? Have we answered our kasha? Rav Huna, who says that there's no machlekes when it comes to Erev Pesach, even Rabbi Yossi agrees, and our Mishnah is reflective of Shittas Rabbi Yossi. V'amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yirmiyah tells us the name of Rabbi Yechanan. V'yitem, but some say it was Amar Rabbi Vo, Amar Rabbi Yossi Rechanina. Halacha Rabbi Yehuda Erev HaPesach. When it comes to Erev Pesach, the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda's Shita. V'halacha Rabbi Yossi Erev Shabbos. When it comes to Erev Shabbos, we're not so machmer. We're not dealing with a mitzvah d'oraisa. So the Shabbos, as important as it is, it's not a mitzvah d'oraisa. And therefore, when it comes to Erev Shabbos, we follow Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Now, this statement, on Erev Pesach we follow Rabbi Yehuda, and on Erev Shabbos we follow Rabbi Yossi. Doesn't this sound like there's actually a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi in both cases, on both accounts? Meaning that Rabbi Yossi disagrees with Rabbi Yehuda even with respect to Erev Pesach. Halacha Rabbi Yehuda Erev Pesach, when we say that, the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda by Erev Pesach, Michlal de Polig Rabbi Yossi b'Tarvayu. Apparently, Rabbi Yossi disagrees on both accounts. How could Rav Huna tell us that Rabbi Yossi is moeded to Rabbi Yehuda when it comes to Erev Pesach? Here we have a statement, Halacha Rabbi Yehuda Erev Pesach, which indicates quite clearly that Rabbi Yossi disagrees even by Erev Pesach. There's no need to refrain from sitting down to a meal, Samach LaMincha, even Erev Pesach. Says Marloi, actually not. When we say halacha machlal de pligi, halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda, which implies that there's a machlekes, b'hafsak. It's not referring to initiating a meal, because over there, even Rabbi Yossi agrees you're not meant to do so on Erev Pesach. The discussion here is regarding an entirely different topic called hafsak. Suppose one begins his meal at a time when it's permissible to do so. It's still the morning, whatever it is, it's a case where it's mutter to begin your meal. Then Shabbos arrives, or Yom Tov arrives, or Pesach arrives. Do you have to stop that meal, say Berachas Hamazon, and begin anew? Or can you continue eating as though nothing happened? There's a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi regarding that halacha as well. The Sani. Mafsikin l'Shabbosos, divrei Rabbi Yehuda. If one's in the midst of his meal, comes Shabbos, he has to stop, say Berachas HaMazon, start fresh with Kiddush, a new Suda. Why? The point is that we want the Shabbos meal to be designated as a Shabbos meal. Therefore, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you have to stop and begin fresh. Rabbi Yehuda, there's no need to be mafsik. You can continue eating, and whatever he eats on Shabbos will be counted as soon as Shabbos, regardless. So that's the discussion regarding the halacha. Halacha Rabbi Yehuda, B'erev Pesach, halacha Rabbi Yossi, B'erev Shabbos. It's referring to this question of mafsikin. Do you have to stop or not? When it comes to Pesach, you have to stop. When it comes to Shabbos, we follow Rabbi Yossi Shita, you don't have to stop. But certainly when it comes to initiating a meal, Rav Huna is correct. Rav Huna is right. That even Rabbi Yossi would agree by Rav Pesach, you may not begin your meal, you have to save your appetite for the matzah. Before we proceed, perhaps let's see the Rashbam inside. If we drop down to the wide lines of the Rashbam, Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Meir, grandson of Rashi, it's going to be on the fourth wide line. The Sanya, the B'Hafsaka Nami Pligi, we find a Brisa which presents their shitas with respect to Hafsak, Mafsikin l'Shabbos. What does this mean? He began his Suda before Mincha. He's eating, and it gets dark. The Bach takes out the word afilu. Rabbi Yehuda, Mafsik Sudasa Meyad, Kishayach Shechom Mekadesh Hayom. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you have to stop, bench, and start fresh. According to Rabbi Yossi, there's no need to stop. And as Taisus explains, that whatever he's going to eat on Shabbos will automatically be considered Suda Shabbos. He'll be credited with a Suda Shabbos. When he's done his entire meal, then he does Berachas HaMazon. And only then will he make Kiddush. Asks Taisus, we know that Kiddush is meant to be connected to the Suda. Kiddush b'makim Suda. He's done his meal, and then he makes Kiddush. How does the Kiddush have the element of Kiddush b'makim Suda? Says Taisus, it does. Because it's miyad achar Suda. Oisei Kiddush. It's immediately following the Suda. That relates back to the Suda. So that's Shittas Rabbi Yossi. Continue eating until he's done, Berachas HaMazon, then makes Kiddush. Whereas according to Rabbi Yehuda, he has to be mafsik. In order to highlight the difference between weekday and Shabbos, stop, bench, make Kiddush, herald in the Shabbos, then start your new Suda, Suda Shabbos, anew. Okay, let's get back to the Gemara. So in conclusion, at this point we learn that when it comes to initiating a meal, Rav Huna tells us, all agree on Erev Pesach, you may not do so, Samach Mincha, you have to save your appetite for the matzah. When it comes to Erev Shabbos or Yom Tov, there's machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda says you have to stop, you can't initiate, and Rabbi Yossi says you can. However, when it comes to being mafsik, that's an entirely different topic. He began his Suda Beheter, and Shabbos or Yom Tov arrives. Does he have to stop, or can he continue eating? According to Rabbi Yehuda, he has to stop. According to Rabbi Yossi, he can continue eating. And regarding halacha, we strike a compromise. When it comes to Pesach, we have to stop Berachas HaMazon, then begin your Seder. When it comes to Shabbos, we follow Rabbi Yossi Shita. There's no need to stop, continue eating, bench, and then make Kiddush. Now why? Why is it so that we're differentiating between Pesach and any other time? When it comes to Pesach, you have to stop and begin fresh. The Mepharshim explained, based on this Tosfos, that Pesach is different because we have the 4 Koisei Shel Yain that we mentioned yesterday, Keneged 4 L'Shonim Shel Geula, and actually the Rabbanon established a set pattern, a system, an order, in which to be Mekayim the 4 Koises. The first one is meant for Kiddush, the second one for the Haggadah, the third one for Halal, fourth one for Berachas HaMazon. Meant to follow a very specific order. Therefore, when he's in the midst of his meal, we require him to terminate that meal, to stop. Then begin fresh. First kais for Kiddush, then for Haggadah, third kais for Halal, and conclude with a Berachas HaMazon. This way you'll have your 4 kaises the way they're meant to be. So that's when it comes to Pesach, you have to stop your meal and start the new Seder fresh and anew. When it comes to Shabbos, no need to do that, continue eating, as long as you make your Kiddush at the end of the meal after Berachas Hamazon. Continues the Gemara, Umase b'Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi. There was an incident involving Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi are the Mari Plukta, the ones that are having the machlekes regarding Hafsaka. They're all sitting together with Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. She Mesubin ba'Akoy. They were sitting and having a meal in Akoy. And it was Erev Shabbos. And Shabbos arrived. V'kidei Shalem Hayoim. Shabbos arrived. And they were in the middle of their meal. What are they going to do? Amalei Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Rabbi Yossi. He turned to Rabbi Yossi with a very respectful term. B'Rebbe, the great one. Ritzaincha nafsik. V'neichosh l'div Rabbi Yehuda chavereinu. Is it okay if we stop our meal in order to accommodate Rabbi Yehuda, our colleague? Which sounded like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel was not really following Rabbi Yehuda's shita. That's not what he held la halacha, but he's trying to accommodate him, be sensitive to him. Let's stop our meal in accordance with his sheet. Amalei Rabbi Yossi responded in protest. B'chol yom v'yom atem machavev dvorai l'fnei Rabbi Yehuda. Look, every day you favor my opinion in the face of Rabbi Yehuda, and now you're going the other way around. V'achshav atem machavev di Rabbi Yehuda b'fanai, and now you're favoring Rabbi Yehuda in front of me, in my presence. It's an insult. Hagam lichpeish es hamalka imi baboyis. This was the Achashverosh in Megillas Esther yelling to Haman, look, you're attacking my queen right in front of me, inside the palace. So Rabbi Yossi sort of took offense. He says, you're going to do this in front of me? Amar lei, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel responded, okay, im kein lo nafsik, if that's the case. Meaning, I agree that la halacha we follow your shita, but I just wanted to be sensitive to him. But once you voice your protest, now I'm no longer going to suggest that we do that. Why? Im kein lo nafsik, we're not going to stop the meal. Shema yira talmidim, perhaps the talmidim, the onlookers, the observers will see. We'll have noticed this exchange here, and they'll see that despite your protest, I'm going to be mafsik, v'yikbu halacha l'deres. They'll establish that this must be the proper halacha for all time. If I would have just done it, okay, it could have been a chumrah. But now that you've protested and I would have proceeded regardless, it sounds like it's pretty serious. This is the way it's meant to be. And I don't want to create that impression that you're meant to be mafsik, because actually you don't really have to be mafsik. That's why we're going to just let it be. Amru, they said, Lo yazam misham. They didn't leave the area achakavu halacha Rabbi Yossi, until they concluded indeed that halacha follows Rabbi Yossi's shita, who holds that there's no need to be mafsik your meal when Shabbos arrives. Amar Vidamar Shmuel, ein halacha like Rabbi Yehuda. Actually, he's going to strike a compromise. The halacha doesn't follow Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that you have to be mafsik when Shabbos or Yom Tov arrives. But like Rabbi Yossi, nor does it follow entirely Rabbi Yossi's shita, who holds that you can just continue eating as if nothing happened. Ella, rather, let's strike a compromise, a pshara. Pyrus mappa or makadosh. You spread a mappa, some sort of napkin, a cloth, tablecloth, over your food, or makadosh, you make kiddush. What have you accomplished by doing that? You've indicated in some small fashion that here begins Suda Shabbos. It's an indicator, it's a hecker. Although you're not really being mafsik your meal, you're not removing the table. You used to have individual tables. You're not removing the table, you're not saying Berachas Hamazon, you're not starting fresh. You're continuing your meal, but the prisas mappa creates that hecker, that indicator. And look, now it's going to be Suda Shabbos. So you cover the food, you make kiddush, that heralds in the Shabbos. That highlights the fact that going forward, it is Suda Shabbos. And then you resume your meal. Let's see Rashbam inside regarding the halacha l'maisa. So it's right in the middle of the wide lines. Amaloi Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Mkele Nafsik. Concludes the Rashbam. Shamina Mahacha. We conclude from this Gemara. Let's remember we had two separate topics here. One regarding bimaschel a meal samach lemincha, and one concerning a meal which had already begun beheter, whether or not it has to be terminated come Shabbos or Yom Tov. The Rashbam will conclude on both accounts. Shamina Mahacha, we learn from here. The Ba'ari Pesachim also le'echel misav tes shoyis lamal kistamas nissen. Says Rashbam, according to Rav Huna's approach, our Mishnah here, which said that in Erev Pesach, you cannot have your Suda Samach Mincha, which, according to Rav Huna, followed all Shittas, because even Rabbi Yossi agrees to that. Therefore, says the Rashbam, we follow the Stam Mishnah on Erev Pesach, you can be Oichel at that point. Aval ba'arish Shabbos v'yom tovim mutar lechel when a mechel mal, as opposed to your ordinary Shabbos or Yontif, where this restriction doesn't apply. Because our Mishnah, our Stam anonymous Mishnah, Rebbe presented it as a Stam Mishnah, which indicates that the halacha follows in accordance with this Mishnah. It's following Shittas Rabbi Yossi. This halacha only applies to Erev Pesach. Apparently, otherwise there's no restriction of Achilach Samach L'Mincha. But Dinakat Arib Pesachim Mechlal L'Beshari Yantiv Shari. The fact that we refer specifically to Erev Pesach indicates that when it comes to ordinary Ari Shabbos Yom Tovim, there's no restriction of Achila Samach Mincha. So apparently we're following Rabbi Yosef's Shita, that's the halacha, that only on Erev Pesach we have this Isser and not otherwise. V'kaim l'nami, halach Rabbi Yosef mechaveroi, Rashbam brings a Gemara in Erevin, that generally we follow Rabbi Yosef when he has a machlokes with his colleague, with Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Yosef afil l'haschav l'echel achad tes shari, behedya, l'kamon b'shmaiten. Rashbam brings another raya from the Gemara later on that according to Rabbi Yosef you can even begin a meal after 9 hours. The Amar Elahad Asani v'Shabbos Shemaschil Emas Iber Shabbos. The Gemara later speaks about a brisa where everybody agrees you can begin eating, and the Gemara says, "Well, are we speaking Erev Shabbos?" Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, meaning Rabbi Yosef holds you can begin your meal even on Erev Shabbos afternoon. So at this point, when we speak about beginning, being maschil the achila, says Rashbam, we follow Rabbi Yosef's shita. Generally speaking, when it comes to Erev Shabbos and Yom Tov, there's no concern, because we're not dealing with a mitzvah d'oraisa, as opposed to Erev Pesach, since we have mitzvahs matzah coming up, mitzvah manat Torah. We're meant to save our appetite for the occasion. Don't sit down to eat something filling, samach l'mincha. Umiyo, says Rashbam, that's regarding initiating. Lenient hafsaka, however, when it comes to stopping your meal, einoch Rabbi Yosef. Here we don't follow Rabbi Yosef. Ba'ari Pesachim, elok Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef is the one who holds that there's never a need to be mafsik. No, says Rashbam. In this regard, we follow Rabbi Yehuda's shita, at least on Erev Pesach. Shem hischel lechel kodim tes. He began his meal before 9 hours. V'nimshach achilosa ashech hashecha, and it's nighttime and he's still in the middle of his meal. Tzorach la'akras hashulchan miyad k'sheyachshach. Have to remove the table, v'tachzir l'shem Pesach, and bring it back l'shem Pesach, to begin your meal anew for the sake of Pesach. Ub'Shabbos v'yom tovim lo yafsik. However, when it comes to Shabbos and Yom Tov, there's no need to stop. Ela puris mapa makadosh v'achkach goy mesudasai. Rather, all you need to do, spread the mapa across the table, which creates some sort of hecker. It's Shabbos. You say Kiddush, and then resume and complete your Suda. So Rashbam brings halacha l'maisa that when it comes to maschal Suda, there's no concern on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Only in Erev Pesach, you're not meant to do so. And that's the halacha l'maisa. Of course, when we speak halacha l'maisa, we're only going to be speaking about the Gemara and the Rishonim, not necessarily the halacha l'maisa. L'maisa is brought down Shulchan Aruch. In any case, Rashbam says that's the halacha l'maisa. And speaking about Shulchan Aruch, actually, the Shulchan Aruch does follow this shita, and it does add something. That it is a mitzvah, nevertheless, when it comes to Erev Shabbos, Erev Yom Tov. Although there's no Isser, there's a mitzvah to refrain from having something filling at this point in the day. It's a mitzvah, in order to enter Shabbos with a proper desire, proper appetite for Sudas Shabbos and for Kiddush. In fact, there's another halacha Chashnoch as well, that either way, you're not meant to schedule a ceremonial meal, a large meal, on Erev Pesach, irrelevant of the time, even in the morning. A large-sized meal should not be scheduled, again, not to diminish, take away from the Sudas Shabbos coming up that very night. However, if it's a time-sensitive celebration, like a bris milah, pidyon ben, certainly that is okay. So that's regarding starting. Regarding being mafsik, the Rashbam concludes that on Erev Pesach, we're going to be mafsik and start fresh, so you have your dalat koises in the proper order. However, when it comes to Shabbos and Yom Tov, there's no need to stop. Rather, you are Puris Mappa and you are Mekadosh. So in summary, we discussed Suda, the Achila, Samach al Mincha, and we discussed when one is already engaged in a Suda, and Shabbos and Yom Tov arrives, does he have to be mafsik? So regarding the first halacha of Achila, Samach al Mincha, we have machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda holds, whether it's Erev Shabbos or Yom Tov, or Erev Pesach, you may not have the Achila Samach Mincha. Rabbi Yossi holds, on Erev Shabbos and Yom Tov it's mutter, but on Erev Pesach, due to the fact that we're approaching the mitzvah deraisa, matzah, you're meant to refrain from the Achila Samach Mincha. Regarding halacha l'maisa, Rashbam brought the halacha is that Suda Samach Mincha is only asur on Erev Pesach in accordance with Shitas Rabbi Yossi. That's reflected in our Mishnah, which is a Stam Mishnah. When it comes to Mafsikin, again we have Machlekes. Rabbi Yehuda says, then in all cases we are Mafsik, whether it's Erev Shabbos or Yom Tov, or it's Erev Pesach, we're Mafsik the Suda, and we initiate Suda's Shabbos or Yom Tov fresh and anew. According to Rabbi Yossi, there's no need to be Mafsik. Just continue eating, and the Achila, which is going to take place on Shabbos or Yom Tov, will automatically account for Suda's Shabbos or Yom Tov. Regarding halacha l'maisa, the Gemara tells us that on Pesach we follow Rabbi Yehuda's shita, we're mafsik, and the Mepharshim explain in order to enable the dalat kaises to be conducted properly. Whereas when it comes to Shabbos and Yom Tov, no need to really be mafsik. Rather, as Shmuel tells us, we simply create that heker or peris mappa, or makadosh, and we gomer our suda. Continues the Mishnah. Is that so? That according to Shmuel, you have peris mappa makadosh, there's no need to actually be mafsik the suda completely? Aini? Va'amar Rav Tachlifa Barav Dimi Amar Shmuel. He quotes Shmuel as follows: Kashem shemafsik in the kiddush. Just as you are fully mafsik when kiddush arrives, when Shabbos arrives. Kach mafsik in Lavdallah. The same thing happens on Motzei Shabbos. You're having a late Shalosh Shudas. Motzei Shabbos arrives. You have to be mafsik for Havdalah. That's Shmuel's shita. Actually, we pass like Rav, who holds that there's no need to stop when Motzei Shabbos arrives. But in any case, according to Shmuel, he employs the term mafsikin. My mafsikin. What do you mean mafsikin? Lav lakir shulchan. Was he not referring to uprooting the table, removing one's table, terminating that meal completely? When Shabbos arrives, lai lamapa. He didn't mean akir shulchan completely. Rather, he meant that a map is enough. Cover up the food to create that symbolic hefsek. Make your kiddush and resume your meal. Continues the Gemara. Rabba Barav Huna ikla lebeiresh galus. Rabba Barav Huna visited the home of the Rosh of the Galus, and it was they were preparing for the Shabbos Suda. Aisu taka kamei. They presented him with his private personal table before Kiddush. And really, ideally, Kiddush should precede the table's arrival. He meant to make Kiddush first to indicate that this is going to be a Suda Shabbos and then have the table delivered. But they reversed the things and they first brought the table and then he was going to make Kiddush. So what did he do? Paras mappa b'Kiddush. He spread the mappa over the table of the food and then was Mekadosh to indicate this is a Suda Shabbos. First comes Kiddush, that sets the tone, and then we proceed with the Suda. Interesting, Tosfos brings a Gemara in Shabbos. He has a kasha from the Gemara which says that the malach which returns with a person from shul on Shabbos, the malach toiv who sees a shulchan aruch, a set table, exclaims a bracha. He says, "Yiratzeh," that next week we should have the same thing, and the malach ra grudgingly answers Ameh. Apparently the malach sees the set table before him. Says Tosfos, it's not actually before him. It's b'makom acher. He knows that it's in the next room. But really, he's supposed to only bring it in after Kiddush. However, says Tosfos, today, nowadays, that our tables, shulchana shalonu agdolim yosem and we have large-sized tables. It's one per family, and it's kind of difficult to bring it in after Kiddush. It's going to create a hefsek. If you have to start doing a moving job after Kiddush, Therefore, says Tosfos, we are accustomed to having the table with some of the food, at least the challah. He doesn't mention the challah, but that's the minute to have the challah at the time of Kiddush. So we are ruggle to have it before us during Kiddush already, and we do the priestess mappa. We cover it with a mappa, and then we are mekadosh. And Tosfos brings the reason for this from the Shiltos. Ki heichi, this is in Tosfos Divrei Masel Shem Nevi'in as HaShulchan. So Tosfos brings the Shiltos. Ki heichi de teisi sudasa b'yikad Shabbat. Towards the end of Tosfos, he brings the Lashon Shiltos. The point of covering the food and making Kiddush is to indicate that the Suda Shabbos is here in honor of Shabbos. You're not just eating a plain supper. Therefore, you are supposed to be Mekadosh and then uncover the food. And Tosfos brings another pshat. This is a commonly known pshat. V'yesh mefarish, why do we cover the food? Zeicher laman. Shlo yored b'Shabbos v'yom tovim. We know the man did not fall on Shabbos and Yom Tov. And the man was packaged. V'yatal melamala u'melamata v'abon b'ntayim. The man was sandwiched between two layers of dew. Therefore, says Tosfos, the food or the challah during Kiddush is covered from both sides, top and bottom, to be a zeicher for the man. Now, interesting that the Chavetz Chaim in Bir Halacha, this is the beginning of Hilchos Shabbos and Simon Rishon Beis, he says, he brings this Tosfos, and he says it's l'chayr tamua. If anything, it should be the other way around. If man did not fall on Shabbos, then why are we concerned about making zeicher l'man? So he brings it as a kasha, and he quotes the Sefer Turas Chaim, which he likes very much. He says, I'll give you the Tam Hogan, a good pshat, why we have all these minhagim on Shabbos. And I'll read it inside. This is the last Bir Halacha and Siman Reishman Beis in Or Chaim. He says like this, Lefi the Shabbos Bereshis Hu Dugmas Shabbos Shlo Asad Lovei Shu Yom Shekuli Shabbos. Our Shabbos is a resemblance, a dugma of the eternal Shabbos, the spiritual existence that we will experience L'Asad Lovei. Mein El Haba. And for that reason, we eat different things, different types of foods which resemble and indicate and are merames to eternity, to what's going to sustain us L'Asad Lovei. Which resemble the L'Asad Lovei experience. Hainu, for example, lechol basar v'dogim neged sudas shehabar v'levyasa. We have basar and dogim to correspond to the shoy habar and the levyasa, meat and fish, which are going to have L'Asad Lovei. Obviously, it's going to be a spiritualized food, but in any case, on our level, this is how we celebrate the achila of L'Asad Lovei. Umekachin alayayin neged hayayin hameshuma banov l'sadik L'Asad Lovei. That's why we make Kiddush on wine, specifically on wine, which is a remez to the anovim, the anovim that we're going to have L'Asad Lovei. Ukvar Omru Chazal, concludes the Mishnah Berurah, Chacham tell us that al shem ze nikra shchakim. One of the skies, one of the rakim, is called shchakim. Why? Shebay sheichkim man l'tzadikim L'Asad Lovei. Because in that area, man is produced for tzadikim L'Asad Lovei. The food, the sustenance that we will have L'Asad Lovei is referred to as man, which is a spiritual, essentially a spiritual type of food. Concludes the Mishnah Berurah, Kach shaper yesh lasos b'Shabbos zeicher l'manahu. That explains why. It makes very much sense that on Shabbos, which is Mein Olam Haba, Mein L'Asad Lovei, we're experiencing L'Asad Lovei experience in this world. We do things which are zeicher l'man, which will be our spiritual sustenance L'Asad Lovei. And that's why we cover the challah on top and on bottom, which is indicative of the man as well. Let's go back to the Gemara. So we had a story where they brought the table in advance of Kiddush. He wanted to send a message. He wanted to bring out the point that the Suda is l'kavet Shabbos. So he covered everything over, made Kiddush, and only then uncovered the meal. Tanya Nami Hachu, we have a support from a Bryce of a Shavan Shimon Venus HaShulchan Elam Ken Kiddush. The Shulchan only follows Kiddush. Vimhevi. However, if the Shulchan was brought before Kiddush, Peiris Mapa Ume Kaddish. Tani Chada, we have one Bryce, Shavan and Shem Aschila. Both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yesi, who disagree elsewhere, but in a certain case, they will both agree that you may not begin your achila from mincha time onward. V'tani idach, we have another brayso which says shavan shemaschil. They both agree you can begin your meal. How do we work this out? It's a steer. Bishleima desani shavan shemaschilin. We understand the brayso which says they both agree that you cannot be maschil. Mishkach l'be'erav Pesach. We're speaking on erev Pesach. That all agree. Hascholas achilas ha'machmincha is awesome. Even Rabbi Yossi agrees. Erev Pesach, in honor of the achilas matzah, you want to salvage your appetite. Don't begin your meal so close to Pesach. So that explains Bryce number 1. The shavan she'em maschil on Erev Pesach. Elohad desani shavan she'maschilan emas. But the second Bryce, which seems to say that both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi agree, you may begin eating so close to Shabbos or Yom Tov. Emas, what are we speaking about? Inema be'erev Shabbos. Is it Erev Shabbos? Homifil pligi. They actually disagree with each other. Rabbi Yehuda says, you may not begin. Like Kasha, the answer is, Kan Kaidem Tisha. This price here, we all agree, you can be Maschel Samachom Mincha speaking Kaidem Tisha. It's still before the initiation of the 10th hour. Meaning before 9 hours are up. So it's still before Samachom Mincha. A mincha is 9.5. Samachom Mincha is at the end of 9, right? The beginning of the 10th hour. And before that, Kaidem Tisha, all agree it's mutter. Kan Lachat Tisha, the Bryce earlier, where Rabbi Yehuda says you may not be maschel Samachom Mincha, speaking Achat Tisha, meaning after 9 hours are up, it's already within the half hour of 9.5. It's already Samachom Mincha, according to Rabbi Yehuda. You cannot begin your meal at that point. Okay, let's make a quick chazara of today's daf. We covered 2 topics. One, starting to eat something filling samachal mincha, and the other one regarding being mafsik, a meal which had already been initiated at a time of heter. When it comes to a suda samachal mincha, Rabbi Yehuda holds, in all cases it's asur. Rabbi Yossi says, on Erev Shabbos and Yom Tov it's mutter. On Erev Pesach, it's also because of the mitzvahs matzah coming up, and that's how the halacha follows. When it comes to mafsik a suda, which had already begun, and Shabbos and Yom Tov arise, Rabbi Yehuda says you have to be mafsik and begin anew. Basically says there's no need to be mafsik. Halacha l'maisa is when it comes to Pesach, we want the seder to be conducted properly. We are mafsik the weekday meal, and with berachas hamazon, and then we start fresh kiddush, etc. This way we fulfill the mitzvah da'al kaises properly. However, when it comes to Shabbos and Yom Tov, there's no need to be mafsik. As Shmuel tells us, we strike a compromise. We don't resume as if nothing happened, and we don't completely stop. Rather, we have Peres Mappa, we spread a Mappa over the table, and then we have Makadish, which indicates that the upcoming section of the meal is a Shabbos meal. We concluded, generally speaking, when it comes to Shabbos, first comes the Kiddush, and then they deliver the meal. Or as Hesa says, Bizman Hazeh, at least we cover the meal. This way, the covered Shabbos is highlighted. This is indicative of the fact that the upcoming meal is a Shabbos meal. It follows the Kiddush, which sets the tone for the Shabbos Suda. However, if the food happens to be here, as the Gemara says, they already brought the table, we are Peres Mappa, and then we are Mekadesh. Hatzlacha Rabbah.